We're live.
757 residents and our dear concerned citizens for Tidewater's Black Communities, welcome to the Hampton Roads Black Caucus MeetUP series. This series touches on important issues of concern for the Hampton Roads Black community, and we extend this discussion opportunity for sitting politicians and challengers alike. With that, we wish to remove as much bias as possible and just stick to the topics. I'm Conrad Chesviner from Virginia Beach, a member of the Hampton Roads Black Caucus's Community Action Team, and joining me is Miss Erica Holmes.
Hi, I'm Erica Holmes. I am from Chesapeake, Virginia, and a member of the Hampton Roads Black Caucus Community Action Team as well.
Now, tonight's discussion will be with candidate for Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. Glenn is the Republican nominee to the office, and he's a homegrown Virginian with Richmond and Virginia Beach roots.
So, Glenn's father alternated jobs, showing Mr. Youngkin that moving around didn't necessarily mean moving up. He began working, washing dishes, and cleaning at a Virginia Beach diner. The hard work helped when his father lost his job, and it helped him gain athletic scholarship for basketball.
Now, Mr. Youngkin earned an engineering degree at Rice University, then an MBA at Harvard Business School. Then he moved to Northern Virginia with his wife, Suzanne. He landed at the Carlyle Group, working there for the next 25 years. He helped build it into a leading world investment firm, even becoming the CEO. This work helped fund the retirements of teachers, police, firefighters, and all the frontline workers we know and love.
Leading a faithful life, Glenn and Suzanne have kept a strong 26-year marriage and 4 great children. With his life experiences, Glenn believes his skills and character gives him an opportunity to lead Virginia with humility and courage. He wants to get Virginia moving again, building it to the best place to live, work, and raise a family in America.
And on that note, let us bring on our guest, Republican nominee for Virginia's Governor Glenn Youngkin. Are you doing well tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. Conrad and Erica, thank you for having me. I am really pleased to be able to join you, and I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Awesome. So tell us more about yourself, what you believe yourself to be responsible for as a governor.
Well, thank you so much for the very kind introduction. And I'm homegrown Virginian. And, you know, when my dad lost his job when I was in 7th grade and my family had to relocate to Virginia Beach, we just started all over again. I learned a number of big lessons. Number one, family can do anything when you pull them together. Also, my mother is my hero. I mean, she just kept us moving. And she refused to let things get us down as a family. And then finally, I learned how to work hard. You know, as you said, I got a job when I was 15. I learned how to work hard. I took out trash and washed dishes at the Belvedere Hotel down at the ocean front. I had the 6 a.m. shift. I would ride my bike about 5 miles in from where we lived. And I just learned the value of work. I mean, there's real dignity in work. Basketball was really important to me. I mean, it was my ticket. I can't tell on the Zoom, but I'm 6'6", and I just had the great opportunity to play college basketball. But what college basketball did for me was give me a great education. And I was recruited to go play at Rice University in Houston, Texas. I got a mechanical engineering degree. And education just unlocked everything. Opportunity comes with education. And if it hadn't been for basketball, I wouldn't have been able to go to school at Rice. Business school was my next step, and that was really important as well. And then coming to Northern Virginia and getting to go work for a small company with really good people who founded the Carlyle Group. And I was there for 25 years, rising up to the top, as you so graciously described. I think a couple other things in my life that are really important. One, I am guided by my faith. Suzanne and I have been just very blessed, and we know it. When I asked her to marry me, I said, Susie, would you marry me? And I was not a committed Christian at the time. And she said, yes, but. And I said, well, but what? And she said, Glenn, you need to know that Jesus is going to have to be in the middle of our life. And I need you to commit to that. And of course, I wanted to get married. So I said, sure. But little did I know the transformation that was going to go on in my life. And I've been forever grateful to Suzanne for being my wife, but also for the relationship with Jesus Christ that she introduced me to. So as I head into this next stage, and I left my job last summer to run for governor, I bring with me a different set of skills than most people running for office. I'm not a career politician. I mean, my opponent, Terry McAuliffe, has been a political operative for 43 years. This is what he's done his whole life. And I've been a business guy. And so I know how to build business. I know how to create jobs. I know how to get things done. I know how to work with people to bring them together to deliver results. I understand that, we have customers, and our customers in Virginia are going to be the Virginians that I work for every day, all 8.5 million of them. And our job as government is not to get nothing done and make promises that can't be fulfilled, but in fact to deliver results. And this is why I'm running. I was very, very frustrated with what was going on in Richmond. In all candor, I was frustrated with the Republican Party. I felt like the Republican Party had really demonstrated that it hadn't come up with a way to bring people together so that we could, in fact, have two-party rule in Richmond, not single-party rule. And therefore, I've been so encouraged all along the way as Virginians have come together. This is no longer Republicans against Democrats. This is Virginians coming together, independents, many Democrats and Republicans, to support a different kind of candidate in Glenn Youngkin that's going to do things differently in Richmond.
Well, you bring up a good point. You talked about business. So let's look at business. You're a businessman. How important is Black-owned business growth to your political vision and activity?
Well, it's incredibly important. I mean, when you really get down to it, we've got roughly 20% of Virginia's population that are Black Virginians. And we should make sure that everybody gets to participate in Virginia's economic progress that I hopefully will be able to foster. And that means that Black business must grow. And at the heart of that is what I hope to do on day one, if I'm fortunate enough to go work for everybody as the next governor. What I believe is we must first get our cost of living down because it's too expensive to live in Virginia. So I've got a whole package of tax cuts, including eliminating the grocery tax and doubling the standard deduction and having a big tax rebate, because taxes have been too high for Virginians and we've collected way too much money in Richmond than we should have, and we should give it back. But second of all, we have to get moving on education. And the education system today has been leaving our kids behind and not preparing them to compete. But we must invigorate our economy and our job market. And what sadly happened over the last 8 years is that Virginia's economy really has stalled. I mean, we've only grown at about 0.9%, less than 1% per year for the last 8 years, when the states around us have grown 70% faster, 70% faster, compounded for 8 years. So we must get Virginia moving. But I do believe when it comes to Black businesses, we have not done a good job in Virginia in making sure we're hearing from you. And the bottom line is, I've had two extreme experiences just in the last few weeks. I had a moment to meet with the Virginia Beach Minority Business Council. And what I heard and saw were leaders, just leaders, engaged in making business work, actually coming together to solve problems, chart an agenda, and deliver results. But then I've also heard about the statewide efforts in the Minority Business Commission, which was supposed to do that on a statewide basis, and it just hasn't happened. And so I believe there's a chance for us to take the kind of action-oriented template that we have seen in the Virginia Beach Minority Business Council and use that as what we must demand from a statewide effort in the Minority Business Commission. Because we must get all business moving, but we also must get Black business moving.
Mm-hmm. Now, remember, viewers, this is the MeetUP series, an informational program put forth by the Hampton Roads Black Caucus. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for many more programs to learn as much as we can about candidates and politicians and their stances on important Black issues. So, Mr. Youngkin, I want to look at your current situation in the business world. Do you currently have a leading and advising or consulting or supportive role in cultivating Black business growth? And if not, what would you like to do to change that?
Well, first of all, I actually stepped down from my role as co-CEO of the Carlyle Group last summer. And I've spent basically the last 12 months getting ready and running for governor. And so what I really wanted to share with everybody was my learnings from running a very large organization and recognizing that we had a very particular strategy at Carlyle. And that was the fact that we know that diverse teams work better and solve problems better. I mean, there is just a ream of research that suggests that teams where everyone comes from a diverse experience base do a better job solving problems than when you have everyone from the same background. And so that was the philosophy that we brought to running Carlyle. And we were ranked by most organizations within the financial industry as the number one place to work for the diverse community. That was incredibly important because it enabled us to build the right kinds of teams so that we could get the best outcomes. I think I'll bring the exact same philosophy. In fact, I know I will, to my role as governor. I think we have to make sure that we have the best teams. We have the best people and the best teams to have the best outcomes. And so this is why I so look forward to going to work with folks right here represented, right in the Hampton Roads Black Caucus. Many of you I've spent lots of time with, and I look forward to working together so that we can, in fact, get Virginia moving. We can come up with the best answers, and I think that's just going to be a critical part of the overall game plan to move forward.
Part of that overall game plan will include education. Educational improvement is a strong pillar within the Hampton Roads Black Caucus. So, Mr. Youngkin, do you believe education should be a bedrock piece of the community's growth, and how would it be?
Yeah, well, it has to be. And of course, going back to just my opening comments, it was the catalyst for my own life. I mean, I lived the version of an American dream that was, of course, my version. And I want every Virginian to live their version. And at the end of the day, education is what facilitates it. Now, one of the challenges that I see in education in Virginia today is the fact that we have really an education system that's not performing. We're watching it underperform. Standards have been lowered. And I'll just be clear that when my opponent was governor, 88 schools didn't pass their accreditation. And rather than do the hard work and get them to pass accreditation, they just lowered the standards for accreditation and all 88 passed. On top of that, today we see the standards for our students to progress in school as the lowest in the country, ranked 50th in the country in math and reading. I mean, this is what's caused so many of our students to fall behind. The testing results that came out this past spring suggest that low standards have translated into very low performance. And today, 62% of Virginia's kids, 62% cannot pass an 8th grade math equivalency test. But what's most shocking is it's 70% of Latino children and over 80% of Black children. The gap is absolutely unacceptable, but the absolute numbers are shocking. And this is why we have to go to work in education. I will preside over the largest education budget in the history of Virginia. We're going to raise expectations. We're going to invest in teacher salaries and facilities and special education. We're going to ask the schools to deliver for our children. But we're also going to press forward with innovation charter school initiatives like you've never seen, because Virginia has not offered this to Virginia families, and particularly in those school districts that are the toughest performers. We need to provide options so that a child's destiny is not dictated by his or her zip code. Virginia has 8 charter schools in the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. North Carolina has 190. Maryland has 140. We have 8. So on day one, I'm going to launch 20 innovation charter schools so we can go to work closing that gap. It's just a down payment. We're going to systematically close that gap aggressively when I'm governor. And these charter schools are different. They're different than people have thought about charter schools. We're going to partner with universities. And I've already started the discussion with Hampton University, with Virginia State University, and Virginia Union University to design curriculum. But we're also going to partner with businesses so that the students who attend these innovation charter schools will be prepared to either go to college or prepared to start a career. We need to make sure that we don't pigeonhole every child in Virginia on one track so we can prepare children for their passions. This is what we're going to do in order to take up Virginia's expectations of excellence in schools and make sure that Virginia's children, all of Virginia's children, but particularly when we look at the minority children in Virginia who are being so underserved by our school system, get the education to go chase their dreams as well.
You're watching and listening to the MeetUP series, the Hampton Roads Black Caucus special programming on what important candidates and politicians think about important Black issues. Following on education, Mr. Youngkin, we acknowledge the problem educationally disparities sees in our communities. As governor, how can the office assist in reducing those disparities?
Well, thank you. And this is a good follow-on from our last topic, because the disparities are real. They're real. And in fact, what we saw over the course of the time running up to the pandemic was big disparities, as I just said. Low standards in Virginia, and those low standards were put in place by Terry McAuliffe, and they lowered the expectations in our schools, and they lowered the expectations for our children. And what was resulted from that is poor performance and testing scores that we've seen. And then the pandemic made it even worse. And when we in fact saw leadership from Richmond that refused to get our schools open, which we know is the best way for our children, then our children suffered more. And in fact, prior to the pandemic, 2 out of 3 Black and Hispanic children passed their math SOLs. And today, 2 out of 3 Black and Hispanic students are failing their SOLs. So what was already an education disparity became even worse during the pandemic. So step 1 here is we must not let our schools close again. I worry about this. My opponent believes in mandates. He wants to mandate everything. And if people don't agree with him, he even said on tape that he wants to make life difficult for them. I mean, it's been too difficult over the last 20 months for all Virginians. But to have a gubernatorial candidate and Terry McAuliffe say he wants to make life difficult for Virginians because they disagree with his perspective, I just think that's wholly wrong. So we need to go to work to keep our schools open, to make sure our children can attend class 5 days a week, that they have in-person education. But as I said before, we must invest a record amount in teachers, in facilities, in special education. We have to press forward with innovative approaches like innovation charter schools. And most importantly, we have to expect our students to do well as opposed to let them skate by. This is what our kids deserve. And this is why I can't wait to go to work for everybody as our next governor. One last comment. Last year, one of the things that Suzanne and I learned, because we got involved with a new nonprofit called the Virginia Ready Initiative. And what Virginia Ready did last summer was partner with businesses all over the Commonwealth. And we identified tens of thousands of jobs that were sitting empty in the middle of the pandemic. And yet we had 1.5 million Virginians just last year. And it actually rose to 1.8 million Virginians who had to file for first-time unemployment benefits. But what Virginia Ready did was in fact recognize that these jobs could be filled just with retraining. But there were lots of people who didn't know how to get the retraining. And so we went to work to help make available training programs through the community college system. And what we found was thousands and thousands and thousands of Virginians, about 50% were actually from the Black community, who took part in this retraining to find a new career. Ambition, hard work, aspiration was unleashed. And this is what we must do for all Virginians. You know, we've got this mentality today. There's only one path, and that's to go to high school and then go to get a 4-year degree. And the reality is there are so many paths. So we absolutely want to make available paths to college, four-year colleges. But we need to go to work to make sure that we facilitated alternative paths as well that could include trade schools, can include community colleges, credentialing programs, so that this thriving economy that we are all going to go build together, an economy that grows 400,000 jobs over the next 4 years and fosters 10,000 startups, that we have a workforce who can go take it. And that is what's most exciting to me, is to rethink education so that we can prepare all of Virginia students to take advantage of a rising economy with more jobs than people can take, but they don't have a single path there. There can be multiple paths there. And that's what we have to do to get education moving for Virginians and then get Virginia moving.
Switching back to business, the Hampton Roads Black Caucus supports a thriving Black business community. What governor policies can you help spur and support Black business development?
Yes, so this is such a great question, and I'm going to go back and bring two pieces together. First, Black business development and Black business growth is just an absolute underpinning to getting our economy moving. So we have to facilitate economic growth and job growth. And as I said, on day one, we're going to go to work. First thing we're going to do is make sure there's not a shutdown. There will not be shutdowns in Virginia again. My opponent, I think, really is very quietly looking forward to shutting it down, because last year, when it was earlier this year, he didn't say a word when our economy was shut down too long. Second of all, we're going to protect right to work. Virginia is a right to work state, meaning that employees get to choose whether they join a union or not. Well, my opponent wants to get rid of right to work. He stared at a camera and said that when the bill came to his desk, he would sign it. Now the House Appropriations Chair wants to send the bill if Terry McAuliffe is elected. You know, right to work protects Virginians from being forced to join the unions. And if we lose right to work, it will absolutely be the death knell across Virginia. Third thing I want to do is I want to declare a 12-month tax holiday for all small businesses. I want you to keep that money. I want you to invest in growth and invest in employees. And finally, we're going to go to work to make sure that we can train a workforce to take the jobs in this growing economy. Now, something I mentioned earlier, I think is really important, that the Minority Business Council in Virginia Beach has done an amazing job of creating resources so that Black business owners can, in fact, understand the path. They can find mentors. They can understand how to get filings and legal work done. They can, in fact, find access to capital to grow. And we've seen failure at the statewide level with the Minority Business Commission to do any of that. And so as I said earlier, so look forward to replicating statewide the great foundation that I saw in Virginia Beach. I think finally, one of the challenges that Virginia has is that new business startups have really stalled. And in fact, Virginia is ranked 49th in the nation today as best place to start a business. And this impacts the Black community in a material way. And so I want Virginia to become an innovation economy, a new business economy. And so we have to bring capital formation. So we need to bring investment funds that can invest in startups and growth capital. We need to bring accelerators that we can place into communities to help businesses find resources to grow. And I think that particularly there's a great opportunity for us to partner with the many leaders that I have met in the Hampton Roads Black community and the Black business community to go do this. And so there's a lot we can do to really jumpstart Black business, and we need to do it together. And the examples that I've just cited are just a number of a few of the ways that we can get started.
Mr. Youngkin, in your time in the business sector, has your position led initiatives that impact broader economic growth outside the group itself?
Well, one of the realities of Carlisle was, we were all about economic growth outside of Carlisle. That's what we did. So the Carlisle group did was on behalf of of teacher retirement systems and firefighter retirement systems and police retirement systems. We, in fact, invested money to grow businesses. I mean, this is what we did. And so I've been doing this for 25 years, which is seeing opportunity and then formulating how to bring resources and support and business plans together to help businesses grow. This is what I've done my whole career. You know, my experience is, I think, pretty unique in the world of politics, but particularly in this race for governor. I mean, my opponent has been a political operative for 43 years. This is what he's done. And I've spent the last 30 years building business and creating jobs and understanding how to help businesses grow. And so I think I bring a completely unique set of experience to this. And I look forward to bringing that skill set, that real world experience, to go work with and for Virginians to get Virginia moving, to stimulate growth, to create job opportunities, and to create opportunity. When you think about it, right, when we get down to it, if we have the best education that addresses the many challenges we talked about today, and we have a growing economy, and we are focused on helping small businesses grow and create new businesses, and we are focused on medium and large businesses growing and creating new businesses, then we are gonna have the most vibrant economy in America. And with vibrant economy comes more jobs. With more jobs comes more opportunity. With more opportunity comes more hope. And this is what I'm so excited about. I feel like I've prepared a lifetime for this, and I'm so looking forward to having an opportunity to go work for all Virginians.
All right. Well, we're going to end our conversation with Mr. Youngkin with a couple of passionate, emotional, personality type questions. So the first one, what is one change that you're super passionate about working towards that needs to occur in the world?
Well, aside from the fact that I think 54-year-old washed up basketball players should still have a chance to try out in the NBA, aside from that, Suzanne and I, and my wife Suzanne and I have been married for 27 years. We are really committed to eradicating human trafficking. It's something we felt passionate about for a long time. In fact, as part of this campaign, it was the very first policy rollout that we made before anything else, was a policy rollout to eradicate human trafficking in Virginia. I think it just takes effort. We can get this done. I mean, this is modern day slavery, and we should stop it. It violates every aspect of humanity, and I think we're called to address it. And so I have a real passion about this and look forward to working with my wife, Suzanne, as the First Lady of Virginia, going to work and ending human trafficking in Virginia.
And the last question, what are you intentionally doing that is very different than the generations that preceded you? I really like this question. Can't wait to hear your response to it.
Well, I think this is a hard one because I think what I'm doing is very much part of my own sense of calling. But I do think that many, many people in this world, they work in the business world for a long time in their career, and at some point they stop working and they, go fishing. I'm not going fishing. I think I've had just an extraordinarily blessed 30 years in business. I've had more good days than bad days. And what I've decided to do with my family is go to work for Virginians. And I guess most people don't make that decision. And so as part of this discussion tonight, I guess I have a request. And my request is to get to know me, get to understand what we're about, how we're going to get Virginia moving. But I also then ask you to consider hiring me. Your vote for me is hiring me to go work for you. And together we can build an extraordinary Virginia. So hire me to work for you, and we'll go to work together and make Virginia the best place in America to live and work and raise a family.
Great words. And we thank you, Mr. Youngkin, for coming on the show tonight. I understand you're about to head on out, but thank you so much for coming on and just sharing yourself for our viewers. We hope that you have a great evening.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a blessed evening.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Youngkin. Now, thank you, viewers, for tuning in to the Hampton Roads Black Caucus's MeetUP series, Community, business, and education are all prominent pieces of our group identity here. And we are fortunate to have Republican governor candidate Glenn Youngkin come on the program to address those stances and more. We'll be having many more of these meetups. And also stay tuned for our many upcoming Sparta Series programs, where we have on candidates from within special Hampton Roads races to discuss important issues to those communities. To stay up to date with those events like the Hampton Roads Black Caucus on Facebook, like it. Subscribe to our channels on YouTube, like them too. We all have a great night. I hope you guys all have one. And thanks for watching, and catch us next time.
Well, before we leave, I want to say thank you to Conrad, who is the leader of our stream team. Our stream team is the part of the Hampton Roads Black Caucus's community action team that focuses on bringing great content to social media so we can awaken the sleeping giant. Hey, Black community, we are the sleeping giant. I said, 2 years ago, the Republicans can't win without us. Democrats can't win without us. We're the sleeping giant. It's time for us to wake up. I want to say thank you to Erica for working with us in this particular stream. And we have some other ones coming up. And look, viewers, we did see your messages. This was just not the stream where we could take, Chrissy, I wish I could have taken your message. Charles, Nikki, San, Shareem, I wish you could have added your messages in, but we couldn't this time. We will in future ones. So keep subscribing, keep watching the Hampton Roads Black Caucus, because we're engaging those who want to represent us, because they have to represent us. We're engaging them, and you're going to be a part of that great engagement. So thanks to all the viewers. Thanks for all your comments. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
About to do some big things, and Conrad doing a great job again with the stream team. If you're not familiar with the Hampton Roads Black Caucus, check us out on Facebook, check us out on Instagram. I know the TikTok's coming up soon. Check out the website, and we're looking for people who are passionate about empowering our community. We're looking for you. So if that's you, go to the website, join, be a part of our community action team, and let's make some changes. Back to you, Conrad and Erica. Sorry for hijacking this.
Not a problem, not a problem. I had fun. Miss Erica, did you have fun tonight?
I sure enough did. That was good information, and I hope that our viewers take that into heart.
Indeed, I had fun, and it was great working with you, Miss Erica. We're going to have many more of these in the future. So definitely let's get cracking and build some more shows, and we'll just have greatness all around.
Great.
Thank you. You all have a great night.